Hi, this is Natu, a guy who's way too old and way too long involved in this game, and you're watching Thorin's YouTube channel.
Right, I'm here for another episode of Talk to Thorin, and this one is going to be with NertZ, who is actually now of Team Liquid, but obviously maybe you remember him from HEROIC, ENCE, those other teams. And actually, I'll even start there. Normally, when a famous player, I do an interview, I tend to do that like reflection series. But the thing is, NertZ, you actually had a very short career, mate. Like, you haven't even had, essentially, 2 full years at like tier 1 at the level people think of. Like, people probably don't remember this because they're thinking of CSGO and it came to CS2, but you had a very short career. And so where I actually want to start, NertZ, is this. The problem is, mate, you aren't 19. So there's a really mysterious question that I've always wanted the answer to, which is, what the fuck were you doing all the rest of the years? Like, even when I go and look on, like, websites, there's almost nothing back beyond, like, 2021. There's nothing for you. You just don't exist. Like, you were just playing, what, CS with friends or something? What were you doing all these years?
So, I will go back a little bit before 2021. In 2014, it wasn't for us, like in the Israeli scene, it wasn't, we didn't focus on the international scene.
Okay.
So for us, it was the peak of the career is to win local in Israel and to be the best team in Israel. And when in 2018, I saw, like, for example, Bui. If you remember, he played with he was in the ESL ProLeague. And this is when we started to realize there are actually, Israelis can actually play in the international teams. And we started to understand, okay, let's go for FPLC, let's go for FPL. And in that moment, so it was 2018, I've been in the London minor. And who were in the London minor got invited for FPLC. Every team.
Right.
I got the invite. I played fine. Everything is good. And this is what I couldn't decline. There is no way. There are some people that may had to do it. Is service in the army. I've done it for 3 years. I couldn't play competitive, and so imagine in my potentially peak of my career, when I feel like I was really good in the 18, 19. So 3 years from that is just gone for nothing. And this is what I did my whole life. And it's something that was important for me. I always like feel every time when even now, I'm always thinking, what have I could have done with the time that I had, like. And so basically when I finished the service, I instantly grind FPL. I go to the FPL. My first season in FPL, I won it. And maybe 1 month after, I got a call from flameZ. He said to me, yo guy, there are some people that want to talk with you. I came to the talk. I saw that I already, the guy. It was Rosar. Really.
The guy who now works for Fnatic, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is the guy. A really nice guy. And he gave me the opportunity to show myself in Endpoint.
When you say that part there, there's 2 details. One is when you say you had to do the mandatory military service, right? I know in Korea, that's another famous place in esports that you have to do this, and same in Finland, right? But the thing is, I believe in these countries, if you want to, you can like delay it. And I think actually in Korea, maybe you can even use esports as an excuse to delay it or something. Is there nothing like that in Israel? You just have to do it when you hit a certain age? How does it work?
So esports in Israel is not actually a sport.
Right.
They don't recognize it as a sport. Right. It's a little bit sad. I'm making a lot of money, even like in the best leagues in football. I'm making more money than them. And when I came to them and I showed them, because I tried to do something about it.
Right.
I showed them, I played in this international LAN because I played before in South Korea ISF in 2017.
Right.
I played during my career, like in the service in the army, I had like LAN, and they said it's not actually sport, so we cannot do anything about it.
Right.
Yeah, so this is what happened.
By the way, you've sort of answered it there, but I'll ask it a different way. Obviously, what I was expecting you to say was something more like I didn't play CS, or like I wasn't as good back then, or something changed. You actually do think though, if like we could go back in a time machine and basically, I guess in this analogy, I'd have to go and get like Endpoint or someone a few years earlier to go, hey, come and join NertZ. But if we did that, if you could have joined when you were like 21 or something, you were actually already good. You already had skill at CS. You think?
So I was the best. Like I'm not. I don't have high ego, but I was the best player everyone that will, if you'll go back from 2014 to 20 around 18, I was the best player in Israeli scene.
Okay.
So I was really good back then, and we had like as you see now, we had really good individual players.
Yeah.
We have every god, we have flameZ, we have Shushan, we have Spinx, and I feel like it's not over. Maybe we will see someone else, but we had really good players.
As you say, you did technically compete in a minor. It's just the joke is no one watched that one because it's the Asia minor that famously the Israeli team competed in. And if you remember, this was back in the day where, because Renegades and Tyloo were there, they're the teams that everyone thought were going to qualify anyway. So unless someone watched the group stage, they wouldn't see this. When you went to this tournament, was it like actually like eye-opening compared to playing in the Israeli league? Was it like was it a surprise, like the level of Renegades and stuff and what the tournaments were like? What did you think?
I mean, it not really, to be honest. Maybe... it wasn't tier 1. I didn't play against Renegade, but I played like, I think, Tainted Minds or something like that. And they were not like the best. I in my eyes, when I'm watching like this Inferno game, when we don't have the experience and we were making like we are nervous. The skill, we have the same skill in my opinion.
Right.
It's just the experience, the reaction and this kind of stuff that when we are learning with time.
And then when you actually... if people don't know, before you came to like tier 1, and as you say, you obviously knew flameZ, you played with him a little bit, you're in that team Finest or whatever they called it back then, right? Tell me a little bit about flameZ then, because he's another person. It's funny that I get the angle now, actually, if there's Israeli backgrounds, why players were limited from playing, because it is a surprise to everyone that there isn't just one player. Like normally in a region, there's one really sick player, and that's why he didn't get out. He didn't have a team. There's actually a load of players, so everyone knows now flameZ is really good. In the last few years, he's gotten better and better and better. Who was young flameZ? What was he like?
Young Flame was as now he's funny guy. He's passionate about the game. What I like about Flame is that if you compare it to me, he didn't think about. It's like he's my friend, but he didn't think team as a friend. He saw us as a friend, but I mean, he said to us, guys, I don't wanna like to stay. I wanna move forward. I wanna play in the international team. So when it happened, you're asking myself how a player can do it. He's playing with the best Israeli team, but he had different vision.
Right.
And this is what got him right now to where he is now. And respect to him, he's a big part of what the vision that he had is like. That's why I'm here in Liquid.
When you came, obviously one of the big squads for a bunch of players was Endpoint. So when you came to Endpoint, this is the team, if people don't know, that the Ross R guy was on, and famously a lot of big name players came through that squad, including people like Mezzy, etc. eventually. So when you came to this team, look, obviously that isn't tier 1 and they don't go to the big land. So even then, some of those players, I've always thought the thing people don't understand is it's not that like the whole world watches Endpoint. It's more that the top teams know who Endpoint is, and so they can notice if that team's doing well in a qualifier or, the players are coming up. What was it actually like to be in Endpoint?
So in Endpoint, it was a family organization for me. The staff are amazing. And you need to understand when you are upcoming talent, it's so easy when you are playing with mightymax, when you are playing with Saril, when you are playing with Crucial, that you feel like they want you to shine. They want you, if there is like eco kills, go for the eco kills. If you have the feeling to do something, do something. You don't see it in any other organization, any other team, because it's also easy for them to sell the players, but you need to understand also the players need to accept to it, and it's not easy. You need to have really low ego to say, okay, this player will have it. Like, for example, there are some teams, okay? If you don't have Donk, like, okay, for example, Donk, Spirit, okay, you give them everything. it's hard, like for 4 players to say to themselves, no matter what, I'm the bitch, let's say like that.
Sure.
And this player will get everything. It's hard as a player to realize it, and this is something that I will never forget. Yeah, this is something that make me also succeed with the confidence that I had. They gave me all of this confidence. I will say big reason is because of them.
Okay. What about in this scenario? Are you someone who embraced that? Did you look? You're obviously quite confident when you speak about your level stuff. Were you someone who wanted to be a star player, etc.? Because sometimes I think people can't tell. Like, are you obviously flameZ is ridiculously outgoing and extroverted, but people don't know. Are you jokey? Are you chill? Are you shy? What are you? Were you someone who wanted to step into that role and be a star?
I didn't to be a star. I never thought about it. Maybe I was the second star, for me at least. But overall, Thorin, I'm as I see it myself. Maybe I'm not that hard on. I'm not hard in the team. Like people, most of I would say more than 90% of the people say like I'm easy to work with. This is what's important when you're waking up in the morning and you're having fun. You're not like, oh, again this guy, and you're bringing people smiles. For me, what is important. CS is the second thing. I will not be happy to work in CS if I don't like to be around I don't like people around me.
That's important to you. You don't want it to just be like football where someone's on a team and you're just with whoever. No. Right.
No, it's really hard for me.
Right. By the way, this is half a joke, but it's also half serious. If people have never seen on Twitter, if people aren't aware, flameZ has an older brother. He's called Shushan, and he nearly always tweets actually whenever flameZ does well. But he'll always do something jokey, sort of like, I was better than you before, or something like that. You played with him, was he? Obviously now he's 27, so he would be very old at this point. You're not going to break it into tier one. Was he actually a good player at one point in time? Is he just joking when he says that? Was he actually like a player himself, a good player?
I think he was a good player. I would say me and him had a clash of. I had a problem with his mentality, but I feel like he changed it a lot. But he was a really good player. When we were in finals, he was insane. And until now, I feel like he's a really good player. And if he will get the chance, I think he can do something good about it.
People might forget this because obviously, similar to that thing I said about the minors earlier, I feel like actually people just delete the teams who don't qualify, who aren't the big names at the RMRs. They forget who the ones at the bottom are. So people might not know Endpoint went to an RMR. You were at the RMR for the Antwerp Major, the 2022 one, with Endpoint and a load of the names you just said, some of the most famous Endpoint players, actually. Right? What was the experience like to go there? Like when you go to a tournament like that, I'm guessing by now you've already scrimmed the tier one teams. But what's it like to actually go to a LAN and play some of these squads?
Wow, it was... let's say it. I didn't feel in that moment. I didn't feel the game. I don't know how to explain it. Like every team was better than us. It felt like individually, tactically, and after it we learned a lot. But we were not a good team. We were not a good team back then, in my opinion. After the minor, like the RMR, I think we changed a lot of things, like role wise. Unfortunately, it was player-wise. Yeah.
Because I saw, if people don't know, another reason why I found it mysterious, your career, is sometimes when you go back on HL TV, the joke is, by the way, this even works with Donk, but obviously he was like 15 at the time. If you go back enough years, eventually your stats go down and he's just a normal player. That never actually happens with you, NertZ. If you just go back, like the stats are actually almost identical your whole career, every tier. But I did notice at that one RMR, you had fucking shit stats at. So I just wondered, like you said, was it like pressure? Did it get to you that moment? After that, you were great. Like that's when you actually kind of had your rise and did your career. But I saw it. I mean, look, everyone was bad at that tournament. But do you have a hard time yourself?
I had a hard time myself for sure. The RMR specifically, I was a passive lurker. I also had it in ENCE, but the problem that we had back then is we didn't have like someone taking initiative during the game. Like I want to take this and that. And this is something that caused a lot of problems for us. And when you are a lurker and your team is making, I would say, it's hard time for us to take space somewhere else. And you're a lurker, it's really hard for the whole team. And This is when I'm telling you we did a role change.
Right. Oh, I see. Right. So you used to be the lurker, which is actually kind of crazy now because everyone thinks of you as like an up-tempo player, like a fucking playmaker or something. So did you actually want to do lurker role before? Did they tell you to do it? How did that happen?
So I said to myself, I was like kind of in the middle, like the second lurker, sometimes control. And Endpoint came to me, you need like to start to be a lurker, you will have the star roles on city side, something like that, and you will be a lurker. And I felt like maybe it wasn't my role, but I will try to get used to it. It doesn't matter. I think I can do all of the roles, not the op at least, but after 3-4 months, we changed it.
Right.
Both wanted to leave, unfortunately. By the way, he was one of the best talented. Like people will laugh, but if I can compare it to Donk was a little bit better. I'm telling you, the how good he was, like the individual, it was insane.
Who are we talking about? I didn't hear the name. Which
BOROS.
Oh, BOROS. Yeah, BOROS. Yeah, the player people obviously know from Falcons. So he was insane back then. I mean, people have seen his mechanics are bonkers now. So he was good back then.
Yeah, he was insane, bro. Wow. I never saw back then someone talented as him. Honestly, never.
No, I actually think, by the way, unfortunately, because of the Falcons thing and some of the things behind the scenes, he's obviously in a tough spot in his career. But I don't think people realise, even the players who played with him in Falcons will absolutely tell you, look, this guy could definitely press W and shoot people in the head. Like, maybe he had other issues, or he wasn't like a super mega mind, or he didn't necessarily know all his roles at the top level. But they say his skill level is actually some of the best they've ever seen.
Yeah. I'm telling you, there are some players on Falcons that already benched and already in another team that's saying they regret they kicked him. I'm telling you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It makes sense. They had that kind of ENCE run, yeah. Right, a question I have for you is this. I want to ask about a few of the players that were in Endpoint with you. So one of them, obviously, you said before, mightymax. Actually, it's not a player that has a big name, but obviously he's been around the UK scene a million years. Right, he was the in-game leader, right, in this team. What was kind of his role and his effect on you?
Max did the best. Like no matter what I came with, the idea is like to let me feel the best comfortable zone around me, and he will do anything. Basically, my bitch, sorry to say, but he will flash, he will do smoke, he will be my just do whatever I want. But he also needs like to focus on the other players. But if I wanted to do something, if I said, Max, I have like a good feeling, he will do it. And it's a unique personality. I'm telling you, you need to have a unique personality to let it happen.
Okay. And what about, if people don't know, after this, not that long after that RMR actually, Endpoint played in a season of ESL ProLeague. And look, obviously everyone would have heard of Endpoint if you'd had a super deep finish. But if they don't know, you did awesome in this season of ProLeague. Like you were fucking smashing all the teams. Like you were actually playing against like Spirit, who was good back then, a whole bunch of like famous teams. And you're individually, you were doing awesome. This was after the role change. Is this like a preview of the NertZ we saw later?
Yeah. Started to change role. When BOROS left, Kirby came. I think the comms that he had, he brought a lot of, I would say, experience. And it changed our identity as a team. And I think even though we lost and we didn't go through the group stage, we played really good. And we had a really good chance to qualify a couple of times, like to win NIP, to win Fnatic, even to win Spirit. So yeah, we played with one of the best teams in the world. Even we won Navi. Back then we were the top one. And I will tell you something crazy. We prep like crazy in every team, every game in this group stage. We came to a point, we were playing against the top one, Navi, and we are saying, guys, we prepped against any team, we're not gonna prep against Navi. We came against Navi and we smashed them. And we didn't do anything. We just came to the game. No pressure, no expectation. We came and like this is the only one game that we didn't do prep and we won. It was crazy. I didn't know what to say.
Because what's funny is, actually, around this time period, I've actually heard that there already were other coaches who all claimed they saw you and they were like scouted you and they were trying to get you. Why did it take so much longer to get to ENCE? Like, why was ENCE the squad? It wasn't like these big orgs now. I don't know if they're just lying nuts and they just now claim they could have picked you up. But a lot of people were telling me you could have been in teams before this. In fact, I think they even said you could have been in ENCE before you joined later, right? You could have joined basically when they did the Valde swap or something, I think, right? When he became like the star player or whatever. What was the situation there? Why weren't you in a team earlier?
So I think I don't remember if it was before ProLeague or after ProLeague. I think maybe slightly before ProLeague. What happened? It was before ProLeague. ENCE came to me and say, "Yeah, we want you to go trial with us." And I say, "Okay, yeah, let's go. I really want I know Spinx have been there." He said, "I know that he liked the org, he liked the players." I did some practice. The first day was awful, but we smashed everyone. The second one was better because I practiced today. And they told me we will give you an answer. I didn't know who was the players that actually packing with them. And they said after 2 days, we are sorry, Valde, we feel Valde is better.
Okay.
I didn't took it that hard back then, but it was. I was asking myself what I was doing wrong. Like for me, it was really important to understand what happened. And maybe players after it, like when I played with ENCE back then, I asked and they said, "Oh, in your first game you were 1-16 or something like that in practice."
Oh, right, in the trial or whatever, right?
Yeah, in the trial. Yeah, so this is,
Okay.
It was my first game, It was
Sure.
I was stressed a little bit, but it's fine. When after a few months, it was super fast. Like before the RMR, I don't remember what was the RMR. Paris RMR, not RMR, the Open Qualifier.
Yes, the online one.
It was 1 day before, Thorin, 1 day before, and calling Endpoint are saying, we need to do it before we are starting the Open Qualifier. If you're going to play the Open Qualifier with NertZ, we're not going to...
Oh, so if they were 1 day late, you probably don't get to join.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So in that moment, I say, okay, we need to do it as soon as possible. This is buyout. Everything is done. And in less than 24 hours, I'm in imminence.
When you joined this team, was it the case that they already had the right role set for you and everything was set up and people like Snappi understand it? Was there like a period of transition where they had to like get to know you and stuff? 'Cause it seems like if you look at the stats, you were pretty good immediately.
I was in ENCE. I was like the Spinx role, and I was the passive lurker. This is not what I like to do, but I was the city side. I was the star player. But it's for me when you have aggressive players like maden, like Snappi, it's easy to be a lurker for me because I can also be aggressive with them. They're giving me the opportunity to play, and it was really good. Even though I was a lurker, it was really good for me. I like it.
Was it the case that essentially what changed that they decided later to swap your role in this team? Like why? Because it looks like you did the same thing as an Endpoint. You started out as the lurker and then eventually they switched you to like more of like the aggressive player, right?
Because like from what I heard, the maden, dycha, and Snappi cannot be the lurkers. They said like when I asked like the coach, he said they cannot be lurkers. They're just aggressive. It doesn't make sense. If you can do it, just do it. And I cannot say no. I cannot say no. I have the opportunity to show myself. There is no way I will say no. And yeah.
Are you someone, like, as I said, someone even just goes and looks at the first Pro League you played, the stats already look good. You're having like great saves against G2 and like massive squads, etc. Did you already feel like I am a tier 1 player, like I'm supposed to be here? I mean, some people when they get to tier 1, they're nervous or, am I an imposter? Am I actually this good? What did you feel like?
I had from Endpoint, you are coming. When I didn't know it in Pro League, when I played with Endpoint. But in that moment, that after I finished to play with Endpoint, that Pro League, I said individually, I'm in the 11 tier 1, top tier 1. This is what I felt. So when I came with ENCE, I felt like also I have a better team. I feel favorite, and also the individual that I had back then, I said there is no one can stop me. Only like simple guy with this kind of stuff, but I felt like I'm in top tier. I'm one of the best individual players in the scene.
What do you, obviously now at this moment, I mean, if people don't know, Snappi has actually been picked up by NIP, so his career isn't over. Like, hopefully he works his way back again. It's even kind of like a little ENCE type project. But his stock, as we say metaphorically, is quite low at the moment, nuts. People don't respect him because of Falcons, and they don't know how much was his fault. Did he do a good job? Is he not good in CS2? Whatever. This was the prime of Snappi for me, this squad. Like, I thought he did an awesome job, especially because in the previous lineup, maybe someone could be cynical and go, you just have Spinx. Well, then he lost Spinx and he had to get you in and bring you into the street. So I think he actually got a lot of respect for the ENCE period. What was Snappi like as a caller? What's like his style? What's his temperament like? Is he like a stern guy? Does he let you do what you want? What's he like as an IGL?
It's Marco Snappi is a good captain. He will always try to improve the team. He always have something to bring to the theory. He will try to make everyone happy. It's like we don't have a lot of like in-game leaders like that wants to actually everyone be happy. He was the best caller from freestyle by far.
Okay.
Like these momentum calls that he had, sometimes I'm saying to myself, why aren't you doing it? Why? Please, let's play safe. And 10 seconds after, because every round that we have done in ENCE, it was 15 seconds and we're already done with the game.
There's a lot of rushes, yeah. He likes rushing style, right?
Yeah. So it was, most of the times it was really good. Like the amount of impact he had in the team, it was insane. And what's something that it makes me say, Thorin, that in CS, he was in the end of 2023, he was the top 3 in-game leaders in the world.
Yeah.
And in 1 year, something can change and you're not like the stock that you had in the market is not the same. It's annoying. It's sad for me because I feel like that he's really good in game leader still.
Obviously, this is to skip forward a second, but just to tie the topics together. Obviously, I know a reason as well that it's a bummer for him is he wishes you were in Falcons with him. Like, he wishes he could just take the whole squad pretty much. And I feel like he actually thinks if he'd had a player like you, even that lineup could have worked.
I don't know. I don't know about it. Maybe it's true. I don't know. I don't know what happened in Falcons. I heard a lot of things happen, and it's a little bit sad that we didn't play together. We didn't keep playing together.
Yes. Right, let me ask about a couple of players in ENCE as well as the results. So actually, the player I also want to ask about, because there's another player whose stock dropped and everyone forgot he existed now. At the time you joined the team, NertZ, a lot of people actually thought the best player in this team was dycha, the Polish player. I mean, I know now, like I said, whatever's happened in his career, I don't know. He's just had some weird thing where he's just not considered a top player anymore. At the time, actually, everyone in ENCE used to tell me, like, this guy's the best player in the team. And then even coaches were all like, he could do all these different roles in the game and stuff. Who was this guy back then when you joined the team?
When I came to the team, dycha he's always quiet. But I saw insane mechanics. I never you can see that he's really good individually, and the way how he's spraying and moving meanwhile he's shooting it's insane. And when you see him playing, it's only about feeling. You cannot prep against this guy. Honestly, Thorin, you cannot prep against this guy because we are joking with him. He don't even know what he was doing. What he's doing.
Okay.
And he's doing some crazy stuff when he's feeling it. He's insane. No, and he's really funny guy. Like, honestly, one of the what we had in ENCE, the chemistry together, and we were friends. Everyone, it was something special.
Right.
And he's a big part of it. He's insane. Right. And he's also he was a good clutcher also.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
He was a good clutcher.
Right, what about then? I actually have a slightly different angle here, which is if I ask you about the player SunPayus, who actually, bizarrely, just because Simple joined Falcons, everyone went and looked at his stats. People remembered he's really good again. It's just that obviously all the AWPers aren't the best in CS2. Sorry, Valve, that's just the way the game works. So I actually have an angle maybe people don't know here, which is this, NertZ. Whenever SunPayus does interviews, he always comes off as a really friendly, like outgoing guy, seems to get a good sense of humour. But I've heard he can be a bit spicy. I've heard he's got his own ego, and he certainly thinks he's a fucking dope AWPer. And maybe what do you say about this guy? Like, he certainly seems like a very good player. I always said, to me, it looked like the guy in the big playoff game always seems to come alive if it's a stage match or something. Who is SunPayus to you?
SunPayus for me is the one like with the winner mentality. Honestly, like he can be sometimes when everything works pretty good, he will be happy, he will be insane, everything is good. But sometimes when things are getting rough, I think he improved a lot. So he's getting it a little bit tilted, but he's not like tilted like I don't know how to say it, like a bitchy way. He's like, everyone are not happy, but he's by far the smartest player I've ever worked. He's Opera, Thorin that know how to build a plan.
Oh,
To
right.
really
If people
pick
don't know,
shots.
that's very rare. Normally, up, you just leave them to just shoot people with the
Exactly.
crosshair, right?
He knows exactly how to build a plan in the mid round to connect the A and B players to make
Right.
something. And in the big games, this guy carry us. He carry us. Because of him, we were in the grand finals in Cologne.
Yeah, yeah.
He did a lot of things. But this guy is animal. He's one of the. I'm telling you. And also, now he's getting the form. I really like Alvaro, but he was one of the best players in the world in 2023.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when he has like the atmosphere, the good atmosphere around him, he will be one of the best players in the world. At least top 10 for me.
One thing I always thought was a bit harsh is that when the Blast Paris Major came along, for the rest of events, they still had that story of like they're good in the normal tournaments, but they haven't done it at the major. But this is like your second tournament almost in the team. Like for you, it's still really fresh. So even though the team did badly, give me some thoughts on actually playing at a major. I mean, this one was the super hype tournament. It was like the last CSGO major, and everyone was like hyping the fuck out of it. What was the experience like? It seemed like you played all right. What was it like overall? Give me some thoughts.
It's frustrated. I will say frustration because players, I will not say the names. Like they are saying, we need to be sleep early, and we are just someone saw like one of the players at 3 a.m. smoking, and
Right.
it's just for me it's just disappointed. I was disappointed after this. Because it was the major boy, it was one of the last CSGO major.
Yeah.
And it was, and we played bad. I'm telling you, we played shit CS. And after this tournament specifically, this is when you see ENCE going up. We started to talk about the food that we are eating. We started to be more strict.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, we said like there are no games anymore. And
Did you like this? Look, as you heard about some of the teams, I know some players might not like that, mate. Like, I won't say names, but I know some people don't want to like go to the gym and have to not eat a burger or whatever. You were okay with doing it? You're okay with this level?
no, but it's not about gym. It's not like sending it.
Okay.
It's like what I mean. No sweet food doing before the game. There is no like cakes and pancakes. Have like whatever bread, a little bit cheese, eggs, and after it you can eat like let's eat rice, meat before rice, chicken. This is kind of stuff, but not and this is something that help us. He gave us this small percentage, maybe 1-2% that help us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you into this? I mean, like that's like a level of professionalism. Like I say, maybe some people think that's too demanding, but worth it to win.
For sure. We were another team. We were like different team. We were a different team from what I saw in Paris Major. Yeah, we were a different team, and I think it was really good.
The only player I didn't ask about in the lineup is obviously Maden. And I feel like, NertZ, this is a player where I actually feel sorry for fans, because if you're just looking at the scoreboard, you're never going to see like crazy stats from this guy. And then also, if you just look at the role, I mean, if you understand CS, you'll know why he doesn't have crazy stats. But people are just going to think, he's just a whatever player, isn't he? But I'll tell you, this is the player, mate, where if I go and talk to other coaches, they always tell me like, that guy does way more than people know. Like, like he does all the dirty work, or he has like a crazy unselfish mindset. Is this true? Can you give me some thoughts on this guy?
Control players. You have a lot of control players that when they're taking the control, it's like they're not full swing. They're not giving the space to the other team. They will take the space for themselves. This guy, no matter what will happen, if someone behind him, he will be this wing guy that will die no matter what, and the second guy to kill him. And he didn't give a fuck about stats. He's like one of the few players that still doesn't care about the stats and care about the win and about the basic of CS. A really nice person. I really like him. We are still talking, me and him. But I'm talking with the Rollins, but he's by far the best, one of the best teammates I had.
And what about the coach? Obviously, you had him in Heroic as well, Saw, right? I think the part of the problem is, again, he's not a guy who did interviews, so people just didn't know who he was back then. Now, I think if people look at all the squads, they kind of give him credit because he didn't have Snappi in Heroic, and now he's making it another squad again, trying to bring people up. Who is Saw and how does he work? Like, what's his style as a coach?
First of all, when I came to ENCE, everything was, it was Snappi and him thinking about the system overall, what is good for every map and everything. But I think he had one direct vision of the game in ENCE. But when we joined Heroic, I felt like he also adjusted a little bit how to see the game, and what I realized in Heroic, that he's making strats, is making like the system
Right.
on the players, how to say it, on the player abilities.
Ah, okay. So it's not like he comes with a great strat, like, hey, you do this. It's like he tailors it to you.
Yeah, he was also telling it, but sometimes he's not even saying it. He's making like kind of a default, basically, that he will put the guy, for example, on A, because he's more quiet, he will put him on A, and other player that is talking a lot, he will put him like on a default in this area. So he's using like the abilities of the players in the best way possible, in my opinion. This is what I like about it. If it's pistols, if it's like Byrons, this kind of stuff. And I never saw a person that knows every answer for the situation. That for example, we are watching a demo together and we are saying we had a problem here. Let's think what are the solutions. He will have already the solution. Super smart guy. He's the big reason why I moved to Heroic, for sure. And he's insanely smart. Thorin, you don't understand.
After this major was, as you say, with the really good results came from ENCE. Actually, if CSGO didn't end, who knows what would have happened? Because right after this was the IEM Dallas tournament, where you guys won the tournament. You just made it past there was that epic game against FaZe, then you got to the final, there was the Mouse team, you beat them. What was it like to win a tournament? Like, again, this is pretty young in your tier 1 career, mate. You've already won like a reasonably sized tournament.
It was insane. Wow. I will never forget it. I mean, how we played during the event, I would say it's one of the best CS that I played in a team. We beat like really good teams. For example, Astralis, we won. We won maybe Complexity, but the thing is, what was the special? It was better than the grand final. Thorin, it was the FaZe third map.
Yeah, the ancient game. If everyone remembers the amazing Carrigan call, it's that game. Yes, that game, yeah.
The 15-14 call, I remember, Carrigan. It was the amount of, we are getting energy from the crowd, and the game was it was in really high level. Like both of the teams played insanely good. And in the end, it was, I think, 20. It was
a crazy OT game, I remember, yeah.
Yeah. And for me, when we won this game, I knew there is no way we are not going to win the tournament. And yeah, for me, it was better to play this game instead of I prefer to win this game and not to win the grand final.
Okay, I get it though. Like FaZe was still really good at the time. Yeah, sure. Yeah. It was a massive game. Yeah. What about after this also was when, as you say, there was the run to the Cologne final, obviously, which is massive. Because again, I always tell people this. So I actually made a concept where I call like Cologne, Katowice and the two majors like the prestige tournaments. Because even if it doesn't have major written on it, every player I know wants to win Katowice, wants to win Cologne. Even just to be on the stage is a big deal, right? To go out into the Lanxess Arena and see all the big crowds. So what was it like to have like this run to the finals? I mean, this was epic.
It was insane, yes. We played we had a pretty rough tournament, the world tournament, I was playing bad. I remember, I think during the tournament, I was saying to myself, "What's going on?" Like I remember, I cried. Like
Right.
I had it was before the Vitality. It was like 1 day before the Vitality when I'm saying to myself, I'm not helping the team. Like for me, it's annoying. I don't have the impact that I have. And I had a talk with my coach, and it was he helped me a lot, like to go through it. So for me, it was a rough one, but after we won Vitality, everyone had a good confidence to win and to win the tournament. But again, we played shit. Individually, we were not there. Nico and Monesi was sharp. You're just picking. These two players are already killing you.
Right. It's like those movies where they do the reverse POV and it's just Nico's elbow just killing people over and over again. Right.
Yeah. So for me, they deserve the win and they played just better, far better than us. So I cannot say anything about it.
Sure.
About I'm just drinking water 1 second.
Yeah, all good.
Amir.
All right, okay. What about, as you say, obviously you had to beat Vitality to get there, though, and Vitality was one of the best teams, and obviously won the fucking Paris Major, right? When you win this Vitality game, the obvious question I have is this, NertZ. Must be fucking baller to actually beat flameZ and Spinx. They look like they're way ahead of you in their careers, and then you just beat them on, like, see you boys, I'm off to the final, bye. Like, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, it was really good. Nice listen for we have we are friends outside the game, but we are rivals. Let's be honest. Like we want to beat each other. We are making because of when Messi and Ronaldo. We are not Messi and Ronaldo basically, but like we are making ourselves better just to face each other. I see flameZ and Spinx session better. I will grind 5% more. So we are giving energy to both of us. This is how I see that, and for me it was really good feeling during the after I won. Yeah, it was really good. It's because
go on.
I think I won them. It was before the Cologne. I beat them in ESL ProLeague Vitality, and again this is when they are starting to get you seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, this team, this team can actually beat us, and this is when we beat them the second time in Cologne. I knew I got confirmation. We are top tier team.
Right. Since this is an obvious question for me, after this, ENCE had another awesome result. You made it to the Gamers 8 final, one of the last CSGO tournaments. Obviously, in the final, you did play the Vitality team when they just made a roster change and they won that tournament. People will remember. They still had Megas, if people don't remember that point in time, right? The obvious question is this. It's not what was that final like, but here's the question. Since you'd beaten Vitality before, but then in the final they beat you, a lot of people did think that was one of the flaws of ENCE, NertZ, is that for some reason maybe pressure gets to the team when it's the big match or something. I think I know some of the players, some have admitted the same thing themselves. Did you feel something similar? Like if you play the same team in a quarterfinal game, it's a different match, right? But in the finals, maybe something, I mean, you could even argue it takes people time to get used to being in finals and to the pressure of it all, right?
But yeah, you're completely right. I remember a few games in even in front of the count. We had some people that will be more annoyed, more extra. We were a little bit pressured. I would say everyone.
Yeah.
Maybe not SunPayus, but even though I would say everyone had this. Like for me, it was disappointed when we are coming to grand final, fucking Gamer State. We are close to get the 400k, and we won already the first match. The second match we are getting full tilt because if someone didn't help us, and we are losing 2-1. Because for me, it's it was for us. It was extra. When you are in grand final in semis, you have always extra annoyed. Extra pressured.
Right.
It took for us maybe 1 or 2 trophies to lift.
They say no man is an island. We all need people who've got our back. And supporting me and the content on my channel are the following people: Matt, Pugnatio, Rajcula, The Concept, Animosity, Bane Diesel, Ben Glass, Jason, Jensen Go, Tosh, Toucan, and you know it. Always a special thanks goes up to my main man, Jerky's Minion. Do you want to ask a question for my video AMA? Do you want to take part in one of those lengthy discussions where I talk about whatever topics are on your mind? Do you want teasers, find out who the upcoming guests are, or maybe even to suggest a guest or a topic for my content? If any of those perks or others catch your fancy, well, put your money where your mouth is and join the Skrilluminati today, where? In the Patreon link in the description box below.